If you want to beat your PB on your next track session, then stick around as we'll go over our 3-step process that you can implement to find more lap time. This process is used by race engineers in professional motorsports to help their drivers find more lap time, and it revolves around one thing: telemetry data. Before we dive into the telemetry data, let's first illustrate the problem that it can solve. Is it faster if I brake here or later? Should I use the entire track or minimize the distance traveled? What's the fastest line to go through this section of the track? The correct answer is, well, there's no single correct answer, because it depends. It depends on many factors, such as the handling characteristics of the car, its braking and acceleration performance, the tires it's using, etc. There are so many factors at play that we can't generalize whether one specific way of approaching a corner is definitively faster or slower. And we can't go by feel either, since what feels fast isn't necessarily fast. Even the best professional drivers with decades of experience need guidance from their race engineer to find the fastest line. This is where telemetry data comes in. Telemetry data can tell us whether time was gained or lost over any particular section of the track. For example, during the 2024 Formula 1 Chinese Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc changed his driving line mid-race and gained over a tenth in just 2 corners, all thanks to telemetry data. When Charles' race engineer analyzed the telemetry data during the race, he was able to spot the corners where Charles could have gone faster.
Try tighter line, exit turn 7. To open up 8.
This example shows that the fastest line may not always be obvious. Even the top drivers in the world leave time on the table when they're left to their own devices without telemetry. We simply can't rely on gut feeling and intuition in order to judge whether we gained or lost a fraction of a second over a span of an entire corner, because it's just not humanly possible. So, the first step to improving your lap times is to get telemetry data. For our track sessions, we use the Dragy DRG70 lap timer to log our data. It's a GPS lap timer that can accurately track and log our track session. We like using the Dragy lap timer because it has a user-friendly and feature-rich app that allows users to upload their track sessions to share with other drivers. This is a very handy feature because it allows us to see the telemetry data of other drivers, which can give us some ideas on how we can approach corners differently. In fact, this is exactly how Charles' engineer found that Charles was losing over a tenth every lap. For his race engineer to know that a different line was faster, he would need data of that line to compare it to.
So the only place losing compared to Norris is turn 7, 8.
In this case, his race engineer saw Lando Norris gaining almost 4/10 each lap over those 2 corners, and it was clear that he was using a different line. To make the most out of the telemetry data, there needs to be variation in the data. If we drove the same way every lap, we would never find out where we could go potentially faster. So it's important to experiment and try different variations. This brings us to step 2 of the process: experiment and get different data. During your track sessions, brake at different points, apply throttle at different points. After that, go back to your data to see what worked and what didn't. When comparing your time delta between laps, be sure to include the straight sections after the corner as well, since the way you exit a corner can have lasting effects further down the track. Aside from experimentation and trying different lines yourself, you should also compare your laps to other drivers to see what they're doing differently. On the Dragy app, you can check out the telemetry data uploaded by other users to see what kind of lines they're taking, where they're braking, and how much speed they're carrying around the corners. It's important to compare against data from a car that's similar to yours. Ideally, the same car with the same mods on the same tire. If you compare it to a different car, the optimal line for the car may not be necessarily the same for your car. Other people's cars might have more grip, so it may not even be possible to achieve the same cornering performance. As we mentioned at the beginning, the fastest way around the track depends on many factors, and the right answer depends on your specific car. Lastly, the final step to improving your driving is to record onboard video. On your sessions, it can be very difficult to keep track or remember what happened in each lap. While telemetry data is useful, it doesn't always capture everything that happens during a lap. For example, if you trail brake too hard and lost the rear, from the overview data, it might look like you just taken the corner at a slower speed, but it doesn't show why it was slower. Having onboard video for reference is useful because it shows exactly what happened in any given moment. It would show in this case that the loss of speed was due to excessive oversteer. Not only does it help to record things that telemetry data can't record, it also serves as a tool to explain the telemetry data. Having a video record of your laps can also allow other better drivers to analyze and give pointers on where you can improve. With the Dragy app, you can record onboard footage via your iPhone's camera. You can also use a GoPro to record your laps, and then the app can overlay your telemetry data over that footage, which then you can easily export from your phone. So, apply these 3 steps to your next track session and in practice. Don't be afraid to experiment and try something different. Play around with different lines and analyze the data to see what works. Even the best drivers in the world have room to improve. If you want to pick up a Dragy DRG70 yourself, check out the links down below. We'll see you in the next video.